Hi YouTube, it's Molly, and today I'm here for my week 35 post-op VSG update. Um, so we'll just get right to the numbers. Today I weighed in at 218.2, which is a 4.2 pound loss for this week, putting me at a total loss of 141.8 pounds. I'm absolutely thrilled with that loss and honestly didn't expect it. I'm getting closer and closer towards goal, so seeing a 4 pound loss is fabulous. I also know that my eating hasn't been the greatest, but my exercise has, so in a way that almost levels out, but I really hate to think of it that way. I kind of unintentionally carb cycled this week, and the only reason I say that is because most of the week was really good, and there were 2 days where I just kind of ate whatever I wanted. I wouldn't say whatever I wanted. I ate like really well. And then one day I had a couple of Reese's cups. Like, what? But unintentionally, basically, carb cycled this week. With those 2 days of just having, like, the one day was the couple Reese's cups that threw my carbs through the roof, and the other day was, I think, the day we went to Outback and I had some of the bloomin' onion, and a piece of their bread. I mean, like one little piece of that bread, but still, like, those couple of days that had things that weren't, best life decisions, were split up, and they kind of unintentionally carb cycled. They weren't good carbs. Like, if I'm gonna intentionally carb cycle, let's talk about, like, quinoa and stuff, but I guess it kind of did its job, and my exercise was great. I swam almost every day this week, ran a couple days, and weight trained like 4 days, I think. Three, I'm pretty sure three. But anyways, I didn't track again every day to a T, and I'm honestly, in this respect, ready to go back to school. I'm ready to go back to my obsessive compulsive way of, I wouldn't even call it obsessive compulsive, but it's way more structured than it is here at home. When I have my 1,000 little containers, and I can, over the weekend, make meals, 4 to 5 meals a day for the whole week, and just have things ready that I can grab and go. Here I don't really have the ability to load my fridge and freezer with things that I eat and, push everybody else's stuff out of the way to throw in 100 tiny containers of what I can eat. And also I'm just going out a lot, which isn't, I wouldn't say a lot, but at school I don't go out at all. Like, it's me, myself, and I make all of my meals for me all of the time. And here that's not happening, and I'm just not preparing my meals in advance like I should be. So in that respect, I'm ready to go back to school. I'm not ready to go back to school for school, but I'm ready to go back to school for the structure and for the rigidity it gives me. That being said, my exercise has been much better at home because I have more time. And I know that going back to school, even though the food will suddenly be easier, the exercise is going to go back to being a struggle because of the time. So they both have their give and take, and it's learning how to balance all of that, in no matter what situation you're in. I think I'm fine. I'm doing okay with my food. When I look back on it, it's like, okay, so there's the one day I shouldn't have had those Reese's cups. But really, like, the rest of the week was pretty freaking good. It wasn't, if you want to look back on what I was eating this time last year, what I ate was fabulous. But it's really hard to, like, think back on the week and be like, I really could have done without those Reese's cups. But really, that was it. Anyways, so I haven't talked about non-scale victories in a while. There's been a few. I talked about some of them in my question and answer videos with Maddie, like, going tubing just isn't ridiculously hard anymore, and this is one of my favorites. This is Maddie's robotics team. I stole his sweatshirt. I fit in his sweatshirt. This video is moving around like crazy. It's driving me nuts. Being able to steal my boyfriend's sweatshirt is like one of the greatest non-scale victories ever. In the past, all of the guys that I've dated, I've been so much bigger than them that there's no way I'd fit in their clothes. Are you crazy? That being said, I'm not going to fit in like his pants, but some of his sweatshirts are big on him, and you know, he likes them big, and this just fits me well. So, but anyways, like being able to steal my boyfriend's sweatshirt, that's kind of like one of the greatest non-scale victories. That being said, I went back and watched those videos that I made with Maddie yesterday, and honestly, like, I was sitting there looking at them thinking, oh my god, I'm so much bigger than him. And it's like, yes, I'm bigger than him. And that's nothing new. I've been bigger than all of my boyfriends ever. And the difference between Maddie and I is probably smaller than the other guys I've had in the past. The only exception is possibly my first boyfriend ever. He was very tall and had weight on him. We might have also had the same difference that Maddie and I have, but he was also way, way, way bigger than Maddie. But yeah, so I was sitting there watching those videos, and I just, for some reason, my mind kept getting stuck on this, just like, I'm so much bigger than him. And I don't know why it was bugging me. My only thought is that because lately I've been feeling really good about myself in that I feel like I fit into society on a normal level. I don't feel like a freak of nature anymore when it comes to my size. I don't feel like I'm at that size anymore where people like point and stare. I feel kind of normal. You know, we're living in a society where obesity is fairly normal, and yes, I'm still obese, but I don't feel like I'm like way overboard. I'm not that fat anymore. So I guess maybe it's that I've been feeling pretty darn good about myself, and then I went back and watched those videos, and I was getting hung up on the fact that I looked so much bigger than him. And I'm 60 pounds-ish heavier than him. And that, I don't know. I don't know why it's bugging me. I don't know. You go back and forth between feeling really good about yourself and feeling like you're still just as big as you once were. And I guess seeing myself still be so much bigger than him, even after I've lost all the weight, maybe kind of threw me back into one of those, like, I'm still really freaking huge. Anyways, back to non-scale victories. I was able to walk into, like, a sports store and buy a swimsuit off the rack. Like, I remember a time back in, like, 6th or probably 5th grade. Back sometime in middle school. I mean, somewhere between 4th and 6th grade, I would say. Where I hit a point where I was swimming on a team competitively, and I couldn't walk into a sports store and buy a swimsuit off the rack because I was too big. So the fact that I could do that, that was huge. Yeah, that made me really, really freaking happy. So yeah, and I guess the last thing on my list is going back to Maddie. after we made those videos last night, the question and answer about dating somebody with weight loss surgery, we sat there for probably a good hour and a half having a conversation about, health and fitness and weight and relationships and helping friends. And part of me really wished that I had just kind of turned the video on and had a recording, because we talked about some really good stuff. I learned more about his experience with weight gain in college, and every time we talk about it, I kind of learn a little bit more about where he's coming from with all of his healthy eating and what kind of threw him into it. But really what I wanted to share was, and I don't even know if I'm going to have time to talk about it in this video, but I guess I'll state the topic and maybe I'll make it its own video sometime later this week, was about helping friends who are very obese and very unhappy about it, and how you approach talking to them about it, saying something, saying nothing. We have a mutual friend, actually the reason why Maddie and I met, and a lot of the reason why we are together, is because of this mutual friend, and he is very, very obese, and very unhappy with it. And I've considered in the past telling him about my surgery, and I haven't. And I think a lot of what has held me back is the fact that I don't think he's mentally ready. He's not mentally in a place where it will benefit him, because it hasn't clicked in his own mind that he needs to make changes for his own health, and he needs to have enough self-respect to start making those changes. And I think those changes need to happen before surgery happens, before you even think about having surgery. I do think that surgery could definitely help him, but I don't think he's mentally ready for it. And I also don't think that anybody saying anything to anybody about their weight is ever helpful. It always, in my experience, has to come from that person themselves coming to the realization that they need to do something and that they are worth it. That's how it was for me. No matter how many times I heard it from everybody else, it didn't really mean anything. But the day where I took a good look at myself and said, I need to make changes so that I can be happy, so that I can be healthy, and I can live a long life that I deserve to live, it didn't matter what anybody else said until then. So we had a good probably hour of this conversation was just about that, about how to help the people in our lives that we love and care about, and want to see make positive changes in their life. How you talk to somebody about that or not. And we didn't even really come to a conclusion, but I think it's a good topic to talk about, and it's obviously going to have to happen in a different video because I'm very close to the time limit on this one. But it was definitely an interesting conversation, especially from the surgery versus non-surgery perspective as well. And it really wasn't even about, having surgery. It was more just, we love you and we want you to live a happy life, and you're not happy with your weight, so let's do something about it. But, I don't know. It's a really touchy subject. It doesn't have a clear-cut answer. It would be super awesome if it did have a clear-cut answer, but, that's going to have to be a different topic for a different time. So I've got one more week at home, and then I'm going back up to Massachusetts, so I'm going to try to make the best of this week. I'm keeping up with the exercise, and in all honesty, if I continue this half-tracking thing for this next week, I'm not really going to care that much, because I know I'm going to go back to being a Nazi when I get back to school. So I'm at my time limit. Have a great week, guys, and I'll talk to you all soon.